We shall see. I got the TV muted. Let's see what else I got. It's gonna get dark in here. I don't got the lights on. Oh well. It's getting dark so early now. It'll be dark in 25 minutes here.
It's already dark here. Well,
Yeah,
we're ahead.
it's probably dark up your way already. All right. Hey, everybody, getting ready to talk with listener, and you pronounce it Adrienne?
Adrienne, yes.
Adrienne. All right. This is episode 2372.
Like from Rocky.
Yo, Adrienne. No, see, look, I got it. No, see, now I'll be thinking that the whole show. But see, now I'll say you're from Philly instead of New York. So you're in Western New York or upstate New York?
Nope, we're in upstate. Yeah.
Upstate. Because I've never been out that way, so I have no idea.
Kind of on the border, right near the Vermont border.
Ah, God, it must be beautiful out there.
This is the best time to live.
Oh, man.
Yep.
My grandparents used to drive up to Nova Scotia every couple of years in their Buick. They had like a Buick Regal or something. Well, like once they retired and had time, and they drive up to Nova Scotia just to see the leaves, and they come back with like jams and jellies and all kinds of stuff.
Syrup.
Yeah. Oh man, it was so good. All right, here we go. Welcome to episode 2372 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Monday to you. Hope you had another great weekend where you got outside and toasted some marshmallows, had some s'mores, played in the hay, and maybe you were brave enough to go to a haunted house or two, because it is that time of the year. You got to get out there and enjoy it, because, if you're not doing that, you're raking the leaves. And that's just something you have to do this time of year, but you got to do the fun stuff too. So get out there, have fun, but take the Be Our Guest podcast with you as you do all the things here in the fall. But today we're going to have a good time taking you down on a virtual trip to Walt Disney World just a couple of months back. And we're going to talk some Halloween in today's show. We're going to take you to the Halloween party, but hang on a second, because we got to get our special guest introduced. And we're headed out to upstate New York, where it is beautiful this time of year. I can imagine. Never been there, but someday I'm going to get there. Listener Adrienne. Adrienne, thanks for coming on the show. How you doing today?
I'm great. I'm so excited to be here. I've been a long-time listener since episode 1.
Oh my gosh. I should give you a badge. Episode 1. That was, so Mallory was 2 months old at that time, and now she knows everything, and she's getting ready to drive. Crazy. And
crazy to think this podcast has been around for like a third of my life.
Oh, dude,
I can imagine how it feels for you.
I don't even know. Like, my knees didn't hurt when I started this show. I didn't have as many gray hairs. There's a lot of stuff that was different about me when this show started, but it's been a joy. Yeah, definitely. I'm glad you've been here for the whole ride of over 2,400 episodes, even though, because we used to not count our live shows back in the day. Actually, we should have, because they were 2 hours long on our Sunday night shows a long time back. But anyway, we're going to have some fun today. Let's learn a little bit about you, though. So you're in upstate New York.
Yes.
And tell us something that I haven't asked this question in quite a bit, but I'm curious about it. Like, what's something your town or your area might be famous for that we might want to know?
So I live right near the actual Saratoga Springs.
That is cool.
So it was so fun. A couple trips back, we went to the Disney Saratoga Springs just to see how it compared, and they did a pretty good job.
Did they? Okay, I was wondering, because if you're from the original, you might say, maybe not, but that's good. So you have the horse races and all that stuff up that way, and all that good stuff.
Yes, it is crazy here in the summer. Yep.
Wow. Yeah, I got to get up that way sometime. So yeah, that's awesome. So you're also a school teacher.
I am. You're 23. I'm on this year. Yep.
Congratulations.
Teacher.
And there's like this crazy Venn diagram that I've learned since I've been doing the podcast now for, it'll be 16 years in the spring here with the show. I can't believe that. But it's one of those things that Disney fans and teachers, like, it's where the Venn diagrams like intersect. There's so many teachers that are Disney fans, and you see this probably with your staff. I always saw it because I was part of a couple different staffs in my teaching career. It's weird how, and I don't know what the connection is. Maybe it's because teachers tend to be, people who love working with kids and, are very optimistic and like that storybook ending and stuff like that. Maybe it's the way you see the world. I don't know. What's your view on that? Because do you agree with me that there's a lot of teachers?
So I do. So for me, it being a music teacher, and I also kind of my hobby outside of school is I'm really involved in theater, musical theater. And so there are a lot of musical theater fans in my area that overlap with the Disney fans because, it's the music and the theater and the dance and all of that, that Disney has. That is all of the things that I love about musical theater are the same things that I love about Disney.
Let me ask you this though. So how do you bring Disney into your classroom if you do, or how do you relate that with your students, maybe to introduce concepts?
Well, I'm lucky because, I get to pick my programs of music that we perform. So we perform a lot of Disney music and we do, our drama club has done a lot of Disney shows. So I've done lots of Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaids, all of that. One of the theaters that I work with right now is doing a production of Tarzan that opens next month. So
Very cool. And there's my dad's weekly call. He knows I do a podcast every Wednesday night to record it, and he calls every week. It's amazing. He does that every week. It's amazing. I tell him to call and he breaks right in and take him out of my contacts list. But so funny you say that though, because we were at our football game, our high school. We do our Friday night lights every Friday night. Away game last Friday night, freezing cold. We had a cold snap, and I'm sitting there. Of course, it wasn't our home game, so we're at the other team stadium. And it took forever for the band to get out there. They had a huge band. I think it was one of those nights where like the junior high band gets to come and play. I mean, they had a ton. I was like, this is like college. I was like, this is like marching Mizzou or something. I could not believe a high school band had that many players. And they had like props. They had all these trees. I counted. They had like 21 trees that they made, but we were on the backside, so they didn't look as cool because we were in the visiting seats. Like we were on the opposite side of the stadium. I'm like, this probably looks really cool on the good side of the stadium. But anyway, they're out there. And they start playing and it's kind of quiet because all the horns are faced, the opposite direction from us. We don't get the good stuff. So, but then they start into this like Disney melody. So I was playing on my phone kind of, then I'm like, it's like Someday My Prince Will Come and all these songs. And I'm like, oh, they're playing all these like Forest Disney songs. I'm like, okay, I've heard this. Okay. I was like, so Disney fan right there from Timberland High School. I was like, it's kind of the same thing, but it perks your ears up. You're like, wait a second, I know that song. Am I on hold with Disney? I was like, I enjoyed it all day. So anyway, so let's talk about your Disney fandom. So how did it all start for you? Like, I mean, obviously you're a musical theater and stuff, but I mean, did it start with you kind of as a kid with the movies, going to the parks? How'd that all go?
So I think I actually was never much of a movie fan. I'm like all about the parks. But when I was growing up, we never went on vacation, but I bought the unofficial guide, like the Len Testa unofficial guide back in like, I think 1994. I just came across it my early teenage years at the bookstore and like read that cover to cover so many times and was hooked and just couldn't wait until I could go. And as soon as I was in college and able to book my own flight, I took my first trip and I've been hooked ever since.
So you and I are a lot alike because I'm not a movie person. I'm a parks person. And that's exactly it. I remember going to because I just remember going to the library and just grabbing any book I could find on the shelf about Walt Disney World. It didn't even have to be a current one. Sometimes they're 2, 3, 4 years old. I didn't care. I just wanted to read about it because back then again, I'm old. So it was like pre-internet, like when the internet came around, it was so cool because you could it wasn't like, real time. I just remember the first time you could actually get on the World Wide Web and start to see like pictures from this week or, trip reports from last week. I mean, it was like, man, we're living in the future. Like that was last week, that's almost real time. And, then you got like live streaming. It's amazing. But yeah, the same way. I was a parks person. It's very much how I fell in love with what we're doing right here, being able to talk about it. So let's jump into your trip. So how did this trip come together? And give us the crew who traveled.
So we hadn't been since our last trip was in 2016. And then with COVID and everything, and then we got 2 puppies during COVID. So that kind of kept us home for a long time. So, and we have friends who had never been, and they kept saying that they wanted to go, but they really didn't know where to start. And so we just decided that it was time and we were going to do it together. And so we took our first ever friend's vacation and our first ever trip where we were kind of the tour guides. And we were there from August 20th to the 27th. And we were heavy duty planning for about a year ahead of time. And it really went off without a hitch. We got very lucky. It was awesome.
So one thing, if you're a teacher in the Midwest, that would have been called week 3 of class.
Yes, we don't go back till after Labor Day. So it's a lot of Northeasterners.
It probably worked to your advantage, though. Did it work to your advantage, or the crowds were pretty light? Because in the Southeast and in the Midwest, everybody's back in school. No kidding.
Yeah, it was really, we had low crowds. I think pretty much, other than at Food and Wine, pretty much the whole trip.
That's bonus. Exactly. Because like we're back into the routine by then. It's like week 4 of football at that point. So backing up a little bit. So you're going with some first timers, and you're kind of, you've been planning this either kind of unofficially, then officially for quite a while, for at least like over a year. But how did the mechanics of it with the planning with newbies go? Because obviously you want to get, I'm sure, input from them, but then again, they don't know what they're getting into. You're the experts. So what did you learn as far as planning for anybody that's going to be in a position like this? Because at some point, I bet all of us are going to be in a position where maybe we're bringing some newbies with us.
So I actually made, it was funny because I like all the spreadsheets and the lists and all of the things. So I made some pretty detailed spreadsheets with all of the different attractions and restaurants, and it, gave them little, this is a thrill ride, or this is the kind of food that this restaurant has, and tried to get them to give me some feedback about what they were looking for. And they really kind of read it all and said, you know what, why don't you just decide everything? Because, we really don't know anything. So we don't know what we're missing or what the best things are. So we're just going to really trust you. Which was a lot of pressure on the one hand, but on the other hand, I mean, we've been friends for a while. So I kind of knew what I thought that they would like. And I think they really had a great time.
And that's, that honestly, if you have friends like that, that's kind of the best, because when you give them something like that, it's overwhelming. I mean, think about it. Think about how many restaurants there are, and how many attractions there are, and how much there is to choose from. I mean, seriously, it would be like a full-time job trying to figure out what you want when you've never been there. It's daunting. And if you have that trust in your friends that they come back, they always have a good time. Like, I'd just say, you know what? You guys always have fun. Give me some of that. Let's go do what you do. I like Mexican food. I bet you can find a nice Mexican restaurant while we're there. Can we do that? I don't have to pick the Mexican restaurant, but at some point, can we have a meal at a Mexican restaurant? Or, I like roller coasters. Can we make sure we do a roller coaster, and just kind of get some, is that kind of how it went? Like, just like you knew that, this person likes that in general, and you kind of made the plan around those kind of things?
Yeah, exactly. And I think the only thing that maybe I kind of messed up a little bit on was I knew that they weren't big thrill ride people. They really said, we're not into the roller coasters, Tower of Terror, like none of that. And so I said, okay, well, I want to at least take you on Mine Train, because it's a really like easy entry into roller coasters. I think you will be fine. It's very low key. It was too much. For them,
no.
So it's like, okay. And we did that towards the beginning of the trip. So I quickly learned kind of where their threshold was. So
I would have done the same thing. So don't think that. I would have said that's tame. I mean, because they say that's you said it just right. I mean, to me, it's like an entry into the roller coaster.
Right, yeah.
Not super scary. I mean, I'm not calling your friends out. Lord help them if they'd have been on a rock and roller coaster or something. At least you didn't do that. That would have been mean. Okay, so let's talk about so like pre-trip. Did you guys do anything to like get ready and travel and everything heading down? I mean, how was that all getting ready, the mechanics of actually getting there?
We did. We bought all of our fun t-shirts from Etsy. Right. We did the whole thing. We flew from Albany, New York, and we got our TSA pre-check because we heard lots of horror stories about the airport situation in Orlando, and everything really went off without a hitch. We got very lucky, super easy flights. And then we rented a car. So that was nice to kind of have that flexibility there.
Yeah. Especially when you have like, a couple of, a group. I mean, Scott always rents a car, and I'm always glad just like, I never rent a car, but it's always good to have a friend that rents a car. Like,
yes.
I'm cheap, so I don't rent a car. Just if I'm by myself, I just Uber or Lyft. But when I'm with Scott, I'm like, man, it's cool that he has a car because it's really nice when you go resort to eat.
Yes. Yep.
It's so convenient. But yeah, I'm tight. So now they don't charge for parking though. I might have to rethink that. We'll see. All right. So let's talk about, you guys stayed at the Polynesian.
Yes, for the first time.
Oh my gosh. So how'd you land on that? I mean, that's pretty sweet.
We had in our previous trips, we always had done a lot of resort hopping and really kind of checked everything out. And that was the one that we really always wanted to stay at. We have stayed offsite. We've stayed at Riverside in the past, but otherwise always offsite. And this trip, we really wanted to kind of do it up and give them the full Disney experience. And so we figured that the Poly is kind of that classic Disney experience.
So give us the review. Was it what you were hoping? What were the positives, the negatives, the highlights?
Yeah, it was absolutely amazing. I don't think there definitely no negatives at all. We did we requested and I might say this wrong, the Rarotonga building.
Okay.
Which was right near the main building, and it was right near the pool, and it was amazing. And then we also figured out pretty quickly that we could walk to the TTC and get on the Epcot monorail there instead of having to go from, the Poly lobby and then transfer.
Yes.
So it was super convenient. The building was the perfect location.
Okay, I'm gonna have to stop here because my daughter is locked out of the house. I am so sorry. So 1 second, I have to go let her in because apparently she's not at cheer. I guess she's sitting outside. My wife's at cheer boosters. I don't know what happened. So I'll be right back.
Okay.
We're talking about the Polynesian. Don't let me forget. Okay, sorry. Let me write this down so I don't. My whiteboard. Where are we at? We're at 14 minutes. Between my dad calling and my daughter locking herself out, this is unbelievable. Hang on, right back. This never happens. Get Riley. Go. Again, my apologies. Okay, let me text you until the front door's unlocked. So. They must have got out of cheer. I don't know what happened there. Okay. All right, we're back. Okay, so that's why you edit. Okay, here we go. So the transportation, though, at the Polynesian has to be amazing. I mean, monorail, like you say, going to the TTC. Did you guys take advantage of the boat launches too? Because those are some of my favorite things to do. I've never stayed at the Polynesian, but I just love going from the Magic Kingdom over to grab some Captain Cook's. We take them over to the Grand Floridian. Was that something you also took advantage of?
Yeah, we also walked to the Grand Floridian, that was fun. But I love the boats. I'm getting ahead, but on the last night, we took the boat from Magic Kingdom back to the Poly, and it was right as the water pageant had just finished passing. And so we just kind of got to sit and watch it, and they were telling us a lot of stories about the history of it, and that was super fun.
And it's so loud out there on the water, isn't it? I mean, it's
yeah.
That's one of those things I still can't believe that, and knock on wood here, because last week I talked about the park hopper. Like, they need to drop that stupid 2:00 rule with the park hopper, and then it happened before the show came out. So I'm scared when I say things because every once in a while things happen. But It always shocks me that that thing is still around from 71, the
I
electrical
love it
water
so much.
fountain,
One of
because
my favorite things.
it's so old school, right? I mean, if you
Yeah.
look at it, it's like a bunch of pieces of fence, with some, lights wired on it. I mean, it looks like something my grandpa would have made in his backyard on a bunch of, pontoon boats, but I love it. It's got a charm.
The
And
music, yeah,
oh, exactly.
classic.
The music is it's old sounding, but it's perfect. Like it's nostalgia on the water, and it needs to stay. It needs to stay forever. So I'm with you there. What about the rooms? What did you guys think of that? Did they just in general?
The rooms were great. They were, I think, fairly recently renovated, so they were super new, and yeah, it was really nice. When
Yeah,
you walk in and have your name on the TV, like
that
so
is
cool.
cool. I know that is super cool because
Yeah.
when I was down in Coronado this summer, it was like the Rallman family. I'm like, yeah, that is Rallman. It's cool. I mean, it doesn't take much to impress me either. So it's all right. So let's talk about your times going around and having a good time. So how did you break this new couple in that went with you? Like, did you sleep in? Did you rope drop? How'd you get them rolling here?
So they knew that there would be no sleeping in. But the first night we had our flight was in the afternoon, and we didn't land until around 5 o'clock. So from 7 a.m. that morning, I had my Genie Plus purchase, and I was stacking the lightning lanes all day. So as soon as we got there, we went to Magic Kingdom, and we did Pirates, Haunted Mansion, Mine Train, Peter Pan, all of the big stuff, just right in a row. And that was their first introduction.
So they got like some of the classics immediately. Like
Yes.
you're here, boom.
Yep.
You're the Magic Kingdom. Here's a bunch of here's the stuff you've probably seen on TV, you've seen in pop culture. So like debrief from the first night, because that wasn't even a full day. That was like a quarter day. That was travel day. But that night, because that was just like a little taste, a little preview of what was to come. What was kind of the debrief from that evening, though? Were they getting excited? Were they too tired? Were they like,
They
what they say?
no, they were not. They weren't too tired, but we did Peter Pan as their first one, and they were so enraptured by that was really the perfect ride, I think, to start them off. And then Mine Train, which they were a little scared of, but yeah, it was great.
That's a good way to start, though, because you gave them the quintessential Disney experience, right? You gave them the stuff that you
Yes.
see in pop culture. Like you go to Walt Disney World, Haunted Mansion, Pirates, Peter Pan. Like that's the stuff that it's table stakes for a Disney vacation. It's what you're going to expect to get to have. And then once you get to experience it, because, then you have the tangential stuff that you're going to get eventually, Pandora, that kind of stuff you don't hear about, but it's awesome. But those are the heart of the Disney experience. You got it right off the bat. I like that idea, because then it's, you're not like, oh, when are we going to get to that? Like, boom, we've done that and we can come back to it. Okay, so you do that. How about your first full day? How do you guys tackle that?
So the first full day we did Epcot, and we really wanted to ride the Skyliner, but we weren't sure the best way to do that coming from Poly. So we ended up taking a minivan, which was so much fun.
Yes.
First thing in the morning to Topolino's.
Oh,
And we did the character breakfast, and it got to meet, Mickey, Minnie right off the bat. Then we took the Skyliner to Epcot, and we did some of the big rides there. So we did like Test Track and Spaceship Earth and all of that stuff. The first morning we did lunch at San Angel Inn. We did like a little bit of food and wine, and then we had dinner at California Grill that night.
Man, what a okay. Let me just recap this day in case anybody wasn't paying attention. You're driving to work on a tired Monday, maybe it's a little drizzly and you're not awake yet. Okay, you took a minivan over to the Riviera, fancy hotel, Topolino's character breakfast, Skyliner, which is a fun attraction in itself, to get to Epcot. Did some of the classic stuff like Spaceship Earth, which I'm sure that they probably got a kick out of. I mean, I hope so, because Spaceship Earth to me is the essence of the Epcot experience, right? It's educational. It's educational and entertainment at the same time to me. I mean, I'm a teacher at heart, so it's kind of the same thing. San Angel Inn, great lunch because it's got that atmosphere. You're inside. It's dark. I like it at lunch because it's like dark. It feels like it's night, but it's blazing sun in the afternoon in August. Then you guys did California Grill at night with food and wine mixed in there. Holy, what a day. I mean,
Well, and I'm looking back at my notes because, it was a couple of months ago, so it's hard to remember when
yeah.
we did what. We actually did, after California Grill, we did Trader Sam's
Oh,
back at the hotel.
this is like,
And that was our first time ever going there. So that was an experience.
if Disney were to hold a contest, this would be the prize. I mean, like this would be it. Like enter to win the ultimate day at Walt Disney World. This would be it. Right
and,
here. I mean,
and I should say, because I didn't say this at the beginning, this was an adults only trip. So we were really going at a fast pace.
Oh my gosh, that'd be okay. That'd be a dream of mine because I've never done that with my wife. So, I mean, my adults onlys are always solos for races, and those aren't exactly fun. So, out of all those experiences, because here's what I'm curious about when you say all this, because you did so much cool stuff that day. What was the highlight, maybe for yourself and for this other couple? What? How do you even say what was best out of all those things? I wouldn't even know what to say.
I think it's hard because we did so much dining and so much great dining, but I think we would all agree that Topolino's was our highlight. And I'm not sure if that was just because it was the first thing, but it really was the perfect way to start that day. The character interactions, we had one of the earliest. I think we had like a 7:30 ADR, so it wasn't very crowded, and the character interactions were just spectacular, and the food was amazing.
Was it worth the extra effort to ride the Skyliner? Was the experience
Absolutely.
what you're hoping?
Yeah, it was. Yes, so much fun.
Pretty cool. Yeah, that is. I wish they'd expand that out even more. I just think it's the perfect system to get people from point A to point B, and it's so Disney too because it's practical, but it's also a little magical at the same time. It's a transportation system, but it's just a little. I don't know how to say it, but it's something you don't get in the everyday world. It's a fun way to get from point A to point B, but it's efficient. It gets you there too. So more of that, Disney. See, I'll try to work. That'll be my next thing. More Skyliner. What? We made it happen last week. Let's do it again. Okay, so man, I mean, what about Trader Sam's though? Your first time for everybody there. I haven't been there in years, but God, that place is so much fun. That place is a hoot.
It was interesting. We really didn't know what to expect, and we got one of the drinks because there's magic that goes along with each of the drinks, and ours created a whole rainstorm, and the people at the bar were shooting water guns, and it was very fun.
Yes, I have my it's down there on my shelf somewhere, my mug. I can't remember what that did, but it did something. And the person I was with was on one of the magical stools that I was like, are you going up or am I going down? Or
I didn't know we were in the back, so I didn't know they had magical stools.
Oh, there's a couple of magical stools where you start to question, like, am I like going down or am I going up, or is the person next to me moving? Like, what is like after an you don't know. Like you're like, I'm done. I can't tell. Anyway, so the next day, well, I mean, holy cow. I mean, at that, I just called it a vacation and been like, it doesn't get any better than this, but I guess you guys continued. What else went on?
So the next day was party day at Magic Kingdom. And so we did Magic Kingdom in the morning because we knew that the crowds would be light on a party day. So that was, I think, a really smart decision. I would recommend that. And then we did lunch at Ohana.
Nice.
And took a little break and went and did some shopping over at Grand Floridian, and then went back in time for the party.
Okay, so the party, and you guys went there on the party day, and you said it was good because the crowds were light. People kind of avoid it because they're not going to, if they're on just a regular ticket, not park hopping, they want to maximize that day. But if you go into the party or you have a hopper, it's good call there. So we talk about that quite often here on the show. How about the party though? You said you had matching shirts earlier. Did you guys have costumes? Did you get into it? What'd you guys do?
So we actually spent, we got back to the party around 4:30, and we spent the first couple of hours. We had a reservation at Crystal Palace, and our costumes were the Pooh characters. So we had a Christopher Robin, we had an Eeyore, a Piglet, and a Pooh.
Perfect.
And that was so much fun there. Again, the character interactions were just spectacular. And it was so much fun to be dressed like them. And we were hoping that we would get to do the picture with them in their Halloween costumes, but that line was about a 2-hour wait for the entire night. So we didn't make it to that, but.
Yep. Those character pictures at the Halloween party and the Christmas party, especially Halloween party, like for Jack and Sally. I just can't imagine waiting, 50% of your party time to get a picture. I know some people do it and that's like the highlight.
Yeah.
Everybody should do what they like, but I'm just one of those people, like I get too antsy, like I want to go trick or treating, or I want to go see a show, or I want to get a good spot for the parade, or, I also want to ride a couple rides, that have little overlays or something. And I just can't, I just want to move too much. I can't wait that long.
Yeah, and we ended up doing, because we knew we had a lot of Magic Kingdom time booked into this trip, so we weren't super worried about doing the rides. But we did a lot of kind of the like maybe lesser known things. Like we saw the Rusty Cutlass
Nice
perform, which is like the pirate band
Yep.
Over by Pirates of the Caribbean, and that was phenomenal. We got to meet Jack Sparrow. We met Jafar. We saw the Cadaver Dance.
They're awesome. I love
We got the candy corn milkshake, which was so good.
You can keep that candy corn.
I love candy corn. And then we got our spot because we really wanted to make sure we had a good spot for the Headless Horseman.
So he got to run that night, because that's always my worry, is if the weather gets any kind of sketchy, he has to bail because of obviously the horse. But
yeah, it did not rain at all the entire trip. I don't know how we got so lucky, but the weather was absolutely incredible.
That is good. So was that? I mean, Headless Horseman, to me, when you get to see him run, where'd you guys watch it from? Frontierland?
In Frontierland, I want to say it was near the Mercantile.
Okay. My favorite spot to watch, it's right there by the shooting arcade. It feels more like haunted back in that part. Like in Frontierland, it feels more like spooky. I've seen him all over the place. I've been to a few Halloween parties. Main Street's pretty cool. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Main Street, but I just like Frontierland, especially with the Headless Horseman. It just seems more like atmosphere, to me, seeing the Headless Horseman run, that's almost worth the price of admission, even as
that's definitely my favorite part of the party and of the parade. And I also love the and I'm not sure what they're called, the graveyard routine where they make the sparks on the pavement.
Yes. Yeah, the grave diggers.
Love that. Yeah.
They have those guys out at the Run Disney course sometimes. We're winding down, or we used to run at night, and they'd be out there like scraping, like, oh, cool. That's cool stuff. So I'm sure your friends enjoyed the Halloween. Did you guys get a ton of candy to bring home, I hope? Or
a little bit. We only did a couple of the trick or treat stops, so not too much. But
the teachers take that candy home and then bribe kids with it all the way to Christmas. That's what I did. If you're good, you get a Nestle Crunch. Toss them out to them. That's how I got all my, it's a prime number. Yes, got it right. Nestle Crunch. All right, so Halloween party success. Tell me you slept in the next day though, because you got to stay up late for the party.
We didn't stay up too late for the party. So because we were in Frontierland, we tried to get over and get a spot for the fireworks, but it was really just too crazy to be able to find a good spot. So we watched a little bit of the fireworks from kind of towards the very back, and then we left so that we could get up early the next morning, because we did early mornings every day. So
okay, all right, you're a morning person. I get it. So I'm a morning person too. Okay, so how'd the next day go?
So the next day was actually our favorite, I think, of the trip. It was our Animal Kingdom day, which I really think is my favorite park. As much as I love Magic Kingdom, but I'm a big animal person. So, and we had Savor the Savannah booked, which is one of the special tours where you kind of get a private ride on the Savannah and then lunch.
So tell us more about that, because even I don't know much about that experience, because we've not talked about it a whole lot on the podcast, and I've not had many guests even inquire about that. So how did that go for you?
So I had heard about the Wild Africa Trek, which is kind of the more adventurous one, I guess, where you walk on the suspension bridge and all of that. And I really wanted to do that, but I had some less adventurous people on the trip that vetoed that.
Yeah.
So I was just looking around, like, what else could we do there that would be special? And I came across Savor the Savannah, and I thought, I really don't know too much about this, but I read a couple reviews, and we decided to give it a try. And it was by far the highlight of the trip. It was incredible. So you get kind of a special Savannah vehicle that's it just more like a regular kind of working truck. And I think there were 10 of us in the group, and we had our own driver and then a guide who talked to us the whole time. But then they also, once you get out there, they bring another guide on whoever happens to be available. So they ended up parking us kind of in the middle of the giraffe part of the savannah. And they just stopped us, and there were 9 or 10 giraffes just kind of circling our vehicle. And one of the giraffe caretakers got onto the truck with us and was telling us all about how she takes care of them, and how it just kind of how the savannah is set up and how they keep it all going and how they keep the animals in their areas. And it was just amazing. And then after that, we got to go up and have lunch at one of the bomas, kind of overlooking. We had zebras, we had flamingos, and I think gazelles were the other things that were kind of all right out near where we were eating.
I know right where you ate, because I've seen that. I've seen guests up there, right, because it's right by the flamingo pit. And it's, yeah, I know. I've seen it, and I'm always like, that is the coolest. I got to do that someday. I want to eat up there. There's things I haven't done. Yeah. I really want to do that. Now that you say you got to be like parked by the giraffes, because I love giraffes. You know what I mean? You don't get to see. We have a nice zoo in St. Louis, and we have a few, and I'm always over, in that part of the zoo checking them out. But man, how cool is that? I mean, the access you had, and also getting to hear the stories, I'm sure, from the caretakers. That's the kind of stuff that you don't expect to get at a Walt Disney World vacation, but you come home with an appreciation for what they do.
And while we were eating, we just had the chance to ask them, whatever questions we wanted, and to look around and take pictures. And I have to share this because I think it's so interesting. So my question for them was about the animals and how they react to all of the fireworks around. Because I'm thinking, even like the dogs in our neighborhood can get stressed with just our regular fireworks, right? So I asked how they handled it, and they were explaining to us that the elephants are the animals that are the most sensitive to the fireworks. And that anytime there's a new fireworks show, they kind of test it out and see how the animals react, and they measure their levels of stress hormones. And I never got to see this, but I'm sure you remember the Star Wars fireworks at Hollywood Studios.
I absolutely loved them. Yes.
So when they tested the elephants, they were so stressed for whatever reason, by those particular fireworks, that is why they no longer do them, because the elephants didn't like them.
Okay, they were loud. There was a section of those fireworks that were extremely loud. I mean, and like wild. That's why I liked them so much. But I remember, because I would stay at Coronado Springs, and it almost shook the hotel at Coronado Springs during this one section of that show. So I could see that. And think about it, elephants have gigantic ears. I mean, now they can bring that stuff home from miles away. Yeah.
Okay. And it was so nice to see how you can tell how much they really love working with the animals, and how much care they take to make sure they're all like living their best lives there. So it was really awesome.
But now I got to blame the elephants that I don't have my Star Wars fireworks. And, I'm an Alabama fan, and their mascot's an elephant. So now I'm kind of torn. I'm like, come on, no, elephants. Oh, no, that's super cool. I would have. And the fact that they test the hormone of, the stress hormone. I'm like, I guess you can't give me a survey. Like, how stressed, 1 to 10, this show. What's going on? How do you feel about that? Because when you said that, I was like, okay, how do you ask an elephant? Like, just, how's this fireworks show to you? I guess it does change the composition of, some chemical in them. That's super wild. This is a theme park. When you think about that, that is wild. That's beyond like, I just think of roller coasters and churros, and they're doing that kind of stuff, like chemical composition of the hormone of the elephant so that we can have different fireworks. That's a great question, but I would have never thought it goes that deep, but it does. Okay. So what else? Give us some more highlights for the trip. This is good stuff.
Okay. So I'm just looking to see what else we did that night. Oh gosh, we ate at Tusker House that day. And I think the bread pudding from Tusker House might've been my favorite thing that I ate during the entire trip. Nice. So good. So that night, because Animal Kingdom closes early, so we got home fairly early, and we went and watched the fireworks on the beach at the Polynesian.
I'm glad you did that. Yeah, that's really nice.
And then the next day was our Hollywood Studios day. And that was the first time, because we hadn't been since 2016. So that was before Galaxy's Edge and before Toy Story Land.
Wow. So it's totally different.
First time seeing all of that. we did lots of dining that day. We did Oga's, we did Roundup Rodeo, we did the sci-fi Fantasmic dinner package.
Everybody gets in sci-fi but me. Every person comes on the show. Every
I
person.
will say though, we at our last trip we did primetime, and I actually think we liked primetime better. Sci-fi was fun.
Yeah.
But I really love primetime.
I love 50s primetime. It's my wife's favorite restaurant and always has been. And I love it too. I just can't get in. Like it's a conquest for me at this point. I just want to get in. I just can't. So now let me ask you about this. So you also hadn't seen Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Last time you were there, the great movie ride was still rolling.
Yes.
So what did you think of the park in general as a whole? I mean, it's absolutely a totally different park from 2016. I mean, overall, what was the experience like? Better or worse?
Definitely better. I will say in the past, it was probably the park that we spent the least amount of time at. So definitely a lot more, I think, to enjoy there. Rise of the Resistance, our first time seeing that, was one of our favorite rides for sure. We also did Smuggler's Run for the first time, and we had 2 little boys that were the pilots.
Oh, good Lord.
That were put in with our group, and they were crashing. I mean, just crashing into everything, and it was so bumpy. And since I had never ridden it before, I just kind of thought that was the way it was. I didn't realize that they were actually causing all of the things we experienced. So that was an adventure. And then Slinky Dog, our first time going on that, and that was, I think, probably the most fun roller coaster I've ever been on.
It is fun.
And our friends who are not big thrill ride people thought that Toy Story Mania was their favorite ride of the trip. So we did that a few times for them.
See, I thought you were going to say your friends rode Slinky Dog.
Because you did not ride Slinky Dog with us.
Yeah, I was trying to decide though, and you were like, you paused there for a second because Slinky Dog is exposed, so you can see the entire track. There's no surprises. Because you like when you get in line there, you kind of bisect the track. You see one half on the right, one half on the left. You can see everything. There's no surprises. It doesn't go upside down, doesn't go super fast. I just wonder, I thought maybe they'd give that one a shot. I can't tell whether that one's more intense than Seven Dwarfs or not. I don't know.
I don't know. I think it probably is.
Maybe.
But we also did Seven Dwarfs at night, so that may have made it.
I'm just trying to get them on a roller coaster.
Feel different, but yeah.
Yeah, Toy Story Mania though, that's a fun ride. That's perfect for like your friends. It sounds like, because it's kind of just a little, like, basically it's kind of like sitting in like a little dune buggy, but it's an interactive game at the same time. And if they're any kind of competitive, it's really fun, which I am. I love that.
And they're also big Toy Story fans, I think so, from the movie. So
good. How was because I've never eaten at Roundup Rodeo or the barbecue place. Was that good?
It was good. They had like a watermelon salad with like watermelon and mozzarella cheese. I think, if I'm remembering, I could be getting my salads mixed up, but the watermelon salad was great. All of the side dishes were really good. And I have never seen the Toy Story movie. So
I've seen that a bunch of times. That's what
I wasn't sure, but they do a lot of cute little bits. I think that my friends who had seen the movie really got a kick out of.
Andy's coming.
So great theming. Yeah,
absolutely. All right. So give us a few more highlights. We got about 10 minutes left. I want to get all these in for you.
Okay. So the next day we had another Magic Kingdom day. And so we had actually, my fiance and I actually got engaged about a month before the trip.
Congratulations.
And we had not announced, other than to our immediate family, we hadn't announced that we were engaged. So we scheduled a capture. I always call it the wrong thing. Capture Your Moment, I think it's called.
That's correct.
Photo shoot at Magic Kingdom by the castle, which is they give you 20 minutes with your own private PhotoPass photographer. And we told them that it was an engagement shoot. They asked us if we wanted a special sign to carry with us. And we said yes. So they made us the cutest little with a Mickey and a Minnie kind of silhouette and put "Just Engaged" on it. And we got to carry it around with us. And we took pictures pretty much from all sides of the castle and a few pictures on Main Street. And then we had a memory maker. So all of the photos from our photo shoot automatically get uploaded to your memory maker. And we got about 80, I think, photos from that session. And that was how we shared our engagement on social media, which was really fun.
Again, congratulations, and what a way to celebrate, and get that message out there. But I've said this, I think this is one of Disney's, like biggest secrets, especially if you already have Memory Maker, to schedule this, because I know if you go to a professional photographer for something like this, it's going to be a lot more expensive. And guess what?
Yes.
You're not going to have access to a place like Cinderella Castle in the background in Main Street, USA. And you're going to get a lot of pictures. So take advantage of it, especially for Disney fans. I know people use this for like senior pictures for their kids and graduation shots and stuff like that. I mean, especially if you already have a Memory Maker on your package or with your annual pass, do this. I know the price just went up recently, but still, it's a good value. And did you guys enjoy your pictures you got?
And the pictures were beautiful, and they know exactly where to take you to, even if it's a crowded time, they know exactly where to take you to kind of make it look like you're the only ones there. And because we had booked it, I want to say it was like maybe 11 a.m. It was right as the castle show was happening. And, they shoot off like the fireworks at the end of, so we got a little bit of that in some of the photos. So that was really neat. And then right after that, we ate at Cinderella's Royal Table, which was our first time ever eating there.
I was wondering about that castle show, because I knew because it was, that it's smart. The photographer's like, okay, here we go. 1, 2, poof, you get that. That good idea. So what'd you think about Cinderella's Royal Table? God, I haven't been in there in years. We used to go there years ago when the girls were smaller. I miss it.
We weren't, and as adults only, we weren't like super interested in meeting all of the princesses, but we really just wanted to see the inside of the castle. And for our friends, we thought, let's get them right inside. We actually weren't expecting the food to be anything special. We figured it was more about the experience. The food was incredible. We really enjoyed it. It was one of our favorite meals. And obviously the setting is beautiful. We got to meet Cinderella. So that was really fun.
Yeah, and it is gorgeous on the inside. I mean, if you've never been inside of Cinderella's Royal Table and you go in to eat in there, I mean, it definitely, I mean, not that I've been in a castle. Like I was about ready to say, it looks like the inside of a castle. But guess what? I've never been inside of a castle in my life. I'm guessing if I was to ever go inside a castle, like in England or something, back when it was, not old, it would look like what that does. It's very cool looking on the inside. It's not just looking like a restaurant on the inside and it looks like a castle on the outside. And for me, it kind of gave me that connection from that point on. Like when we were, it took Mallory and Paige when they were little. Now, every time we go watch a Disney movie and you see that silhouette of a castle at the beginning of the movie, like, it reminds us of those fun times we had there meeting Cinderella as a family. Every time, like it takes me right there as we ate there. Okay. So give us a few more highlights.
So this on Saturday, which was our last day, we had another Epcot morning booked. And so that was the day that we made it on to Ratatouille and Frozen.
Nice.
And so again, on our last trip, Frozen was still Maelstrom. And this was before Ratatouille. So we got to see those for the first time. Loved both of those. Our friends are big fans of the Ratatouille movie. So that was one of their favorites. We had lunch at Space 220.
What do you guys think of that? Because
I heard such mixed reviews. Yeah, so I was kind of hedging about whether we really wanted to eat there, and I'm so glad we did. We loved it. We got a seat right by one of the
windows,
and it's just a cool experience. The elevator up is neat.
Yeah.
Just the theming is so neat, and we really liked the food. And then that night we had dinner at Artist Point.
I still haven't been there either.
And that was kind of a last minute. We were like, we didn't have a dinner planned for that night. And we thought maybe we would just get quick service. And I just was scrolling around and there was a reservation available. And we thought, let's show them the Wilderness Lodge because it's such a beautiful resort. And being from the Northeast, it's very similar to how it looks here in the Adirondacks. So we took them over there. It was so much fun meeting the dwarves. We really got a kick out of that. And again, the food there, it was spectacular. And then we took the boat over to Magic Kingdom and finished with the fireworks dessert party. And that was how we ended our trip.
What a way to finish a fireworks dessert party, to bring it all home, to have that last hurrah over at the Magic Kingdom. But I mean, that unexpected meal over at Artist Point, I mean, that's like, unexpected magic there. There's so many highlights you have from this trip. Like my head is still spinning because wow, this is an epic trip. And I know the answer to this because, I mean, I can't imagine that it would be any different. But let me ask you this kind of as we wrap up. Obviously, I could tell just from the tone of your voice, you guys had a blast. And you guys, I'm sure it sounds like you had a ton of fun acting as tour guides for your friends. I mean, you enjoyed taking on that role
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
and kind of showing them, because it is exciting to show people this is why I love this place. Like, let me show you, this is why when I get home and, I talk about these things and I have these pictures on my wall or my classroom, this is why I get excited about coming here. Like, and I want you to see this and have this fun experience. So that we all kind of get that experience. When you got home though, your friends, because they could go either way, right? You can either run them into the ground and they're like, that was fun. I appreciate going with you. And yeah, I'm not going to do that again. Because I mean, that's a fair thing because Disney's not for everybody. Or they could say, yeah, maybe I'll do that again in 5-10 years. I need a little break. Or, maybe they turn into one of us and they want to be there again, pretty soon. So let us know. How are your friends today?
So when we started
I feel like it's like that old Chuck Woolery, like the Love Connection. How'd it go?
And it is, I felt a little bit of pressure because I wanted them to love it so badly. And I just wanted it all to go perfectly. And they had said when we started that this would probably be their only trip there. So they wanted to see it all. And then about halfway through the trip, they said, well, maybe we'll come back in a few years. And then by the time we got back, which was August 27th, they planned another trip to go down for Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party.
Yes.
This December. So now they are actually going back before we are. And they are now hooked. So we did our job well, I think.
Too well. They're beating you back. They need to invite you to go with them. But you got to teach. But that's how it goes. So that's great. But that way you'll have this bond now. So while they're planning to go in December, you can kind of cooperate, with them and decide, hey, don't forget to do this, or what do you guys play? That makes a strong, healthy relationship, I think. Scott and I are always working on our plans, and we're empowering each other to spend more money. Basically, is what it boils down to. It's not a good thing, but it's fun to have friends like that. It's so good. So before we get out of here, this has been a ton of fun, and God, I would love to have been on this trip because you guys did it right. I mean, in every single way. Halloween party, special event over at Animal Kingdom, all these great meals, the best of the best at Stay at the Poly, and that's so cool. What advice would you have though for anybody that's getting ready to take somebody for the first time? Friends of the family, maybe just first timers. What did you learn? Did anything surprise you, or anything you pass on to our audience?
I think really just know your friends. I mean, we knew that they would be able to do all of the early mornings and that they wouldn't need really a midday break or anything like that. So we knew that we could kind of run them into the ground and they would enjoy that. But if we had misread them, it would have been really easy for them to not have had as much fun.
Good tip.
So
read the room and
really know who you're traveling with. And I wouldn't take these were people that we've been friends with for a long time. So we knew very well.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I'm glad it worked out. And I'm glad that you guys now, I'm sure you'll have another trip like this in the not too distant future. You guys will go back together and, they'll know their thing, and maybe it'll be kind of 50-50 on the planning, and you won't have to stress. Everybody will be like, hey, let's do this. And you guys be running like crazy. Can you imagine? I can't imagine it gets any better than this trip though. Holy cow. I mean,
we were saying that we set the bar very high. And so not all of our trips, we don't usually pack this much in. So
yeah, I'm like, I don't know what else you could do to make it any better than this one, but yeah, good luck.
I think the only thing, we've never been in the winter or in the cooler weather. So I think our next trip will be where we're not dealing with the heat on top of everything else. So yeah.
That's a great idea. Well, hey, Adrienne, thank you for coming on the show. What a great way to start our week, and successful rest of your school year. Thanks for being there for the kids, and don't be a stranger. Hope to have you on the show again and hear about all these continued adventures. It was a lot of fun today.
Thank you so much. This was so fun.
All right. Don't forget, our show brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan an amazing Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, or Adventures by Disney vacation today. So swing by the website over at themagicforless.com. No additional cost to you, and you get lots of little booking bonuses as well. Again, check them out today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. That one extra click supports everything we do throughout the year. beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you to our patrons. You guys make all these shows possible. You allow us to put out 3, 4, 5 shows a week, and it's all because of your support. So thank you for that. And our patrons get that bonus show every week. It's called Mike in the Midwest. So coming over this week, we'd love to have you at patreon.com/Be Our Guest Podcast. Give me a follow on the social media. I'd love to talk to you this week at Be Our Guest Mike on Instagram, Twitter /X, and Threads. And of course, this Sunday night, we'll have a live call-in show. It's just going to be you and me, so I need your calls. Scotty G's bailing one more week and hanging out at Alani. He's big timing us for his 40th birthday, but he'll have lots of stories when he gets back. I promise you. So we're going to have a lot of fun talking Disney. So give me a call this Sunday night, 7:00 Eastern, 6:00 Central, all the places, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Let's hang out for the BOGP open line. All right, we're going to jump out of here. We'll be back again on Wednesday with more of your listener questions. So for Adrienne, I'm Mike, wishing you a great Monday. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. Boom. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was so much fun.
I'm glad you had fun. And now I get to edit out where my dad called and my daughter's texting and I guess she's upstairs. And we're babysitting a dog from next door because our neighbors went to the Virgin Islands. And so we got their dog. And my wife didn't really, she's not a dog person. Now we have 2 dogs at our house. So today's been wild. It's crazy. So this little dog, he doesn't even know what he's doing. So you mentioned like how the elephants are like nervous. So this dog comes to like we have Riley, right, to talk about every once in a while on the podcast pages, Golden Doodle, which this dog is so laid back. It just chills. It does nothing. It's the best dog in the world. It seriously just hangs out with me. Well, this other dog is like nervous about everything. I don't even know what kind of dog it is. It looks kind of like Boston Terrier size, got big old eyes. And it's just like, it's skittery. And so last night we had like a slight thunderstorm and the dogs sleep on the floor in our bedroom. We couldn't find the dog. The dog went into our like walk-in closet and like hid in the closet. Like we've never had a dog go in our closet before. We didn't know where the dog was. And the thing is just like it walks around like it's always looking at you like this. It's so crazy. So yeah, hopefully it's upstairs. So I got to go find that dog now. Riley was in here. You probably heard me yelling at her because when I went to open the door, she ran it because she runs in here, wants to hang out with me. I'm like, no, get doing a show, get out. So
I sent our dogs to my mom's tonight because I knew they would bark. Anytime we're on a Zoom call, they bark. So
I appreciate that. Riley doesn't usually because Ricky with her dog. Oh, that dog used to bark all the time. And I'm like, Ricky, get rid of the dog. Like, just take it, like put it in a different room. Like, I finally got a room I can close the door so that Riley doesn't bark. And like, because she'll sit right outside my door because she can hear me through the door. Like this dog loves me. So she'll sit right on the other side of the door, but we have a walkout basement. So I have to like close the blinds because there's a path to our lake right outside of our door. And so people walk, to the lake to walk their dogs and stuff. And every time she sees somebody, she thinks she's like, the troll. She's got to bark at everybody. Get off my path. And I'm like, so I close the blinds. So I got to remember all these like procedures before recording, like, okay, close the blinds, close the door. Now just go to sleep, Riley, till the show's over, and then I'll get you a treat. So it's kind of what I do now. Hey, thanks for doing this. I appreciate it. It'll be out on Monday. And if you need anything, just give me a yell.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. I'll see you later. Have a good one.
All right. You too.